what up, world? You are you, and I am Q. Here to do another tutorial for you. I was working on this song, and I was having trouble with the breakdown. In fact, actually, up until recently, I was having trouble with all my breakdowns. Either my songs wouldn't really have that epic moment, and some songs it kind of works, if they just kind of flow from piece to piece. But sometimes you want to build the epic one, and sometimes your lead into your drop is too big, so your drop never feels big enough, or your lead up is not big enough. It's just hard to find that balance and hard to make it so that your build-ups feel so big that people are aching for the drop, but then your drop feels even bigger than that. How do you do that? How do you get there? What tricks can you use? I'm going to show you. So check this out. This is what I have so far. Okay, so sounds pretty good so far. Obviously, there's still some stuff to do. So going in, this build up here gets pretty darn big. I'll break it down for you really quick. I think this sample here was the very first sample I heard. I think I was on Splice and I heard this. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna start a song. I thought, okay, I'm going to start a song with a breakdown, because I usually don't start here. But, along my own YouTubings, I have found that a lot of producers do start here. I think Flux Pavilion said he starts here. Starts with the build up and the drop, and then kind of builds out from there. I think that's what he said. But, yeah, I've seen others do it this way. So that sound kind of inspired me to start here. And then I wanted a counting sound, so I found this. I don't know if I'm going to keep that, but I like it so far. And then found this. I think must have been in the same pack. A low version of the same alarm as before. I like how they pan back and forth. And then I added some effects. I always just do reverse reverbs. I can show you guys how to do these if you like. Let me know in the comments. We can make another video. And I have actually a bunch of different ways. I mean, you probably might have seen some of the typical ways to do these, but you can get really tricky with them. Reverse reverbs, reverse delays, reverse. Yeah, just let me know in the comments if that's what you're looking for. But little reverse reverb to go into that little vocal stab thing that I found somewhere on Splice probably. And then those drums are fun. Clap goes on too. Oh, it looks like there's some reverb that gets added in over time to add to the size. This top loop comes in. Looks like sounds like it gets filtered in. Oops. Some risers, you get it. But it gets really big, like too big. Or at least I thought, because everything I put behind it, I had trouble with. So one of the first tricks I added was adding this space here. So to come straight from here into a drop, pretty difficult. Actually, let's see what that would sound like. I'm curious now. Let's just delete this time. Not good. So the first thing I did was I added this space to kind of reset the listener. And obviously everything pretty much drops out. So just in the arrangement, things are dropping out. I'm also going to use you'll see some effects that also help things drop out, but more on in a frequency way. So you need things to disappear both from your arrangement here in the window, and you need things to disappear from a frequency standpoint as well. You'll see what I mean. So adding this bit of time helped reset your ear to kind of a lower volume and just a less busy arrangement. And then this seems busier in contrast to this. Necessary after such a big build. It's also kind of a mini drop, so it itself is kind of a pressure release, because some people are expecting to go over the hill here, and when they don't, it builds another layer of anticipation. And then some people will know that they're not going to drop over the hill here on the dance floor, so they'll be like in the know. They'll kind of like shoot each other a knowing glance, and then so they'll pause here. Also building anticipation for what they know will be the real drop. It's kind of a fun little psychological game. So that's what I did arrangement wise. And then there's some tricks that I did here on the master bus. Actually, people don't normally think of putting stuff on the master bus unless they are using these tricks, actually, for the most part. But so I have few things automated on the master bus over time. So from here, from this marker to this marker is all build up. So over the length of that time, and actually up to the drop, we have a few things happening. We have the gain going down on the entire, on the master bus. The gain goes down 3 decibels we're able to get away with. I could probably get away with 4 maybe, because it's happening over such a long period of time. So we're losing volume, we're losing gain, 4 decibels over this time, so that when the drop comes back in, we regain the gain. Stupid. We regain all that gain over a short period of time. We don't realize it, but bam, it's louder and it's bigger. So that's one thing. The next thing I do as a trick is over time, I use, on the same utility, I use the width parameter, and I get rid of a lot of width. I could probably, once again, even get rid of a little bit more. So as we go, the track becomes more mono. A lot of the stereo information starts to fall away as we go, so that when you come out of a drop, sometimes you're going to kick and bass, and you can add some width to the high end of your bass, and you can add some width, and maybe your ride cymbals in, and it has some width, but there's not that many elements sometimes on your drop that have width. So your pre-drop or your build-up will be very wide, because all the instruments are kind of the high instruments. It's big, it's wide, it's winding around your head. You want that, but you want towards the end of that section for it to get to narrow, because you're going to have less width as you get into your drop, because it's going to be kick and bass, it's less instrumentation, and 2, it'll feel wider than it actually is. What few elements you have that do have width will feel wider because you have acclimated to a more narrow stereo field. That was long-winded, but I think you got it. So play with width over time, play with gain over time, and then play with frequency over time. So I have a high pass. Actually, this one doesn't go as high as typically I would on a breakdown, but because of the arrangement itself, dropping out all of the drums, all the bass. There's I don't even think there is any bass, much bass to speak of in that breakdown, except for the low alarm sound. So we have a gentle roll off. I think about 100 or something like that. Yeah, 173. Probably could go up to 200. I'm holding command, so I have a little bit more control, finer control over the node there. So those three things in conjunction make the buildup that's building bigger feel like make a buildup that actually feels like it's building bigger. Make it so that it's actually building smaller, so that your drop is actually, it's the same size as where you started, but it is perceived to be larger. So that's the concept. There's many ways to get there, but just as long as you know the concept, that's what's really important. And how you're playing with time. The other thing, did I add this? Did I automate this? Oh, so this gets automated as well. This is an Endless Smile. It's made by Data Life. They made the sausage fattener as well. It's another one similar to the sausage fattener where they pack a whole lot of plug-in magic under the hood, and then they macro it to one knob, one magic knob. It's two knobs on the sausage fattener, but really it's that drive knob, that fat knob, that is magic. And here the intensity knob is pretty magic. On this setting, it does kind of it itself does a kind of what I was doing with these other plugins. It does a high pass and a reverb effect, and kind of adds a white noise thing. You can hear it. Here, yeah, I'll keep it. That's what it does on its own. So you add that to what I was doing already, and you understand the effect. I just realized though that I should probably put the utility after it, so that as it's adding, because it adds width, I still want it to be narrowed by the utility, if you understand what I'm saying. So, whoops. So all together now. And there you go. Boom. The other thing, one of the things I'd like to talk about that I had to change on this side of the drop, I had to end up layering the bass. I remember I had a pretty nice bass sound that was coming out of Serum on its own, but it just wasn't fat enough. I really did end up having to make the bass kind of a wall of bass almost to make it sound bigger on this side. And then I ended up taking some of the higher elements and adding some width to them. I think I did, at least. Yeah. So you can hear this layer right here, because width was an issue after the size of the buildup. I ended up having to make a layer that was more high end frequency content and had a bit of I think I put a dimension expander on it. Yeah. Which is basically kind of a slap delay type reverby type thing to add some width. So I ended up having to layer the bass in order to control, because you don't want anything that adds width or that adds reverb on the low frequency stuff. So my point is I had to end up layering a bass to make a thicker bass sound and a more interesting bass sound on the other end. That's one thing I ended up having to spend a lot of time on to make this drop work as well. So there's the low layer. You can hear the compressor clicking when it sidechains. I'll have to go back and fix that. And then I think I have a high sub. Make sure it comes through on smaller speakers. And then this high layer with the dimension expander on it. Anywho, you get the idea. So, to recap, over the length of your build-up, your epic build-up effect, the master gain over time. You're going to want to lose gain over time and then gain it right at the end, gain it back right at the end in order to make your drop feel bigger. You're going to want to lose width over time, and you're going to want to lose low frequency content. You're going to want to sweep up the frequency spectrum over time, and then as you get to your drop, when you get to the moment, everything drops back in and it feels huge. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the alarm button. So I'll be making a lot of these. I want to make quick tutorials like this in Ableton, Reason, and in Logic. Also, I want to do long form where you just get to watch me work, get to see how I build things like this. Let me know if that interests you as well. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all of my socials. I am at It's DJ Quasar. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.